Hi, I'm back. I have no idea what happened, but just let me know if you can hear me. Hopefully, I'm just going to carry on. As far as I know, we are good to go here. All right. Hopefully, everybody will be joining back again. So, going back to this amazing student who is recovering from MS, her journey thus far, maybe 4 to 6 weeks into this journey. So again, she was starting to treat, and she noticed that with like using the herbs, a little bit too many, and the oxidizing agent, that it was just too strong for her. She felt too tired, lousy. So she stopped and recovered. Again, what she shared is that as soon as she stopped the treatments, and again, if you're using treatments that are helpful, even if it's a little too strong, maybe the die-off is a little too strong, then they notice that, just want to make sure that you guys are here. Yes. So then they notice that when they stop and they recover, which is 1 to 3 days, that they actually feel better than they felt before. And so she shared that I couldn't believe how well I felt after I stopped all the treatments for a couple of days. I was doing exercises with my aide. We were both pleasantly surprised at how much better my exercises were. My energy today was so much better. Nice bowel movements in the morning, a nice bowel movement in the morning. And interestingly, during the workout, normally when flexing her arm and then extending it all the way, usually she has to get her aide to help her, and her aide will do about 75% of the work. This time she did only 20 to 25% of the work, and this student did the balance. So her strength in her arms, not just her legs, not just her hand opening up, but in her arms also improved so much more. And I don't know, I hope you guys are able to find me back again. So she said, I got quite a few compliments from my aide. So they said, her and her husband said the samples have arrived, and now they're going to get the energy testing done. And one really important thing is that, I'm just going to head over here to see if you guys can hear me, because that's kind of important. She noticed that she has some tooth pain. And when we have chronic diseases, it is very, very common that we have, yes, you guys are there. It is very common to have hidden dental infections, and the hidden dental infections can make us sick and keep us sick. So she's noticed that she has some tooth pain, and I should say too that a lot of these hidden dental infections, you don't feel pain. There is a really great documentary that you can watch. If you're dealing with chronic disease, watch The Root Cause, or A Root Cause. I think it's The Root Cause. And it really helps you to see. There's also a Dr. Rowan who has a YouTube channel, and you can actually see, I've seen so many cases where people walk into his office, they can hardly walk, and he'll take the tooth meridian chart. He'll trace, let's say, the hip pain down to a specific tooth. He'll freeze that tooth, and within a minute or two, all of a sudden, they hardly have any pain in their hip. And this happens over and over again. So there are specific, electrical nerve highways between organs and teeth, for example. And if a tooth is infected, it can really impact our large intestines, our small intestines, or different parts of the body, and give us a lot of pain. So really exciting that she is going to start exploring that, just to make sure that she's not dealing with hidden dental infections. And in order to get past that, we have to go to biological dentists. Very important. I don't see your comments. If you guys are there, just make sure to do a comment, because I'm not seeing them, unfortunately. I'm not sure what's going on with technology today. If I don't answer your questions because I don't see them, type them in the comment section, and I will answer them after we're finished. So really excited for her. So I want you to understand, there we go, there you guys are, awesome. So if you are significantly disabled, please don't lose hope, because we're seeing that there is so much damage that is, or I should say inflammation, that can be reversed, right? It's not all permanent scarring to the myelin sheath. So if you end up in a wheelchair, that doesn't mean you can't come out. I can't make promises. It really has to do with how well a student implements, but we are seeing very often that And I'll be sharing another success from another student also, who had also a hand that was like a claw, and she was able to open it and use it again now. And I've had that many times, I don't know about many times, but less than 10 times, where people, one lady for 40 years, she wasn't able to use her hand, and then it opened, and then she could start using it, shaving her armpits and just using it again. Not perfectly, but this is where rehab is really great. That comes in. So another student who is recovering from MS, who just started very recently, who's 26 years old, hasn't had multiple sclerosis. So we have students all over the range of the length of time they've been sick. So he's had MS for less than a year, and he has noticed just by implementing the diet, not perfectly, I had to give him feedback to make a few adjustments, but he said my symptoms that have improved was vertigo, always was dizzy, and my balance. So his balance and his vertigo have already started to improve just with the diet. And another student that was getting ready to treat and was ready to treat, so before treatment, shared that her digestive issues were gone, that she was able to have now a daily bowel movement, which is amazing because a lot of us that have chronic disease, we haven't had a daily bowel movement, healthy one, for years. And some of us, most of our life. So she's having daily bowel movements without any help, like without any supplements for the first time. Sleeping is better. The numbness in her face is gone. And she has no more MS hug. Amazing. The next student is another one that's getting ready to just following the prep phase, the diet. She said, I woke up this morning feeling good. This doesn't happen very often. No headache and feeling energetic. Praise the Lord. I am following the diet and I'm hoping to start the treatment soon. And then I just want to share this one last one. So this is just so amazing. So I just want to stop for a minute and say, I love the wellness champions. They are my heroes. They are the leaders. They are the trailblazers. They are the forward thinkers because of the hard work they're doing. So like for myself, recovering from MS, that's just one person. And you think, well, that could just be a fluke. But when you have all these people that are so determined to get their health and their life back, and through their diligence, they are getting their health and their life back. But they are also blazing the trail for others. They are giving other people hope that, well, if they're doing it, if they've all done it, then maybe I can do it too. And yes, you can do it. Absolutely. So the last student I just wanted to share is that she shared, it took me about 1.5 years of treating to get to where I'm at today. I still have a little work to do, but in the same token, it's been almost 20 years ago that I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. My spasms have finally disappeared, along with the mood swings, the depression, the constant inflammation that was causing my hand to contract like a claw. I had forgotten how slender my hands were supposed to be. With my last treatment cycle, the parasites are almost non-existent, so she's not seeing many at all. And I now feel like I can really start to build strength again. Thank you so much again, Pam. Much love. Awesome. So cool. And that's it. So those are the ones that I pulled together quickly before this call. And you might be wondering, like, okay, so what are they doing exactly? I am going to be hosting my live masterclass training, which will be next Wednesday on May the 11th at 5 o'clock Pacific. And I'm going to do a deep dive into the steps. Number one, first, like, how do we end up in this position? How do we end up with a parasitic infestation? And the research behind it, and the types of infections, just keeping it really simple. Then I'm going to talk specifically about the steps. So I'm going to go deeper into the steps. It's too long for today. And then once we go through the steps, you're going to hear more in-depth case studies of people, their successes, what they've done. And actually, I'm hoping that I will have Lisa May's more current video updated with editing. There's multiple students that have been recovered for 5 or 6 years or longer. So this is long lasting. This is the answer. This is the cure. And we can't promise full recovery as far as if there is damage to a nerve, but I can tell you that there is so much that is still in the inflammation stage. You'll have far more recovery than you ever thought possible, and you arrest the disease. You stop the progression. People are able to get off all their medications, and it just really improves their quality of life, just like that one student was sharing. So the exciting thing is that there is, and I've shared a lot of research on my different videos more recently about the types of infections. So the current consensus, and it's not a total consensus, but I would say the majority of the research coming out is really showing that when we have chronic diseases like MS, ALS, PLS, Parkinson's, we're in a state of dysbiosis. And I have that word in my book that I published in 2011. We're out of balance. We have too many disease-causing microbes and not enough health-promoting microbes. So what we have to do is, you can hear, awesome. So what we have to do is we have to restore balance. And that's exactly what we do. That is what's causing the inflammation in disease. That's what's making us sick. It's not a diet. It's not that fruit is bad. It's not that nuts are bad. It's not that meat is bad or certain grains are bad. But you eat according to, the state of your health. And when you have a parasitic infestation, you're not going to do well on a lot of carbs because that is going to feed the problem. So as we get the carbs down, so this is the steps. Number one is we want to feed the body and we want to decrease the food to the infections that are making us sick through the Live Disease-Free diet. We call it the Live Disease-Free diet because it's different than paleo and it's different than the keto diet. So it's not quite as low carb as the keto, but we don't have dairy because dairy does not work with chronic disease. We have more vegetables and we love that. It gives us more variety and flavor. And we're not paleo, we're lower carb than paleo. And then we're not having things like sweet potatoes and smoothies and wine and chocolate. They're all lovely once you're recovered, but if you're sick, they will just make you feel horrible. So the diet is the first step. And you heard the successes you can have with the diet alone. And there's so many more that I haven't even included today. So the diet is the first step. Then we support the body. We make sure that we're opening up the detox pathways by having daily bowel movements. Sometimes we could benefit from taking a binder. And then also just looking at our blood work and supporting, do we have low blood iron? Do we have thyroid, low thyroid? Where's our liver and kidney function at, et cetera. So we want to support the body. And then once we've supporting the body in various ways, like decreasing mold and radiation and sleeping and having daily bowel movements. So those are some of the big ones. And then we're pretty much ready to treat. So by that point, we should have had a lot of symptom improvements. And then when we're ready to treat, we're building the game plan and we incorporate various things. We found the herbs by themselves are not enough. The antimicrobial, the parasite herbs, the antifungal herbs, they're great, but they're not enough to recover from chronic disease. If they were, I would tell you, I would be happy if it was just the herbs alone. We found that using the parasite drugs in conjunction safely and at the right time, the right amounts, is much better, much more effective. And then we use an oxidizing agent, which is super cheap and really safe, and it doesn't interfere with other medications, and it really helps us. That's how we've seen all these worm pictures of the worms that people are passing. So we can take it orally or do enemas, and it is just a game changer. So those three things together with a successful prep phase is where I have hundreds of pictures of worm pictures. Again, some of the parasites we don't see, but we do see the big ones, and there are a lot of big ones. So you'll see, if you want, you'll see a few pictures on next Wednesday, May the 11th, when I do the live event. And so you'll have a chance to go through this whole process and to really understand if this is your answer. Before you do that, though, I would encourage you to go to the livediseasefree.com website, our website, and right on the front homepage, on the left-hand side in the banner, you'll see that there's a survey you can take, and it helps you to understand, is it possible that you have chronic infections in the body that are causing your disease symptoms? So you can fill out that survey, and then you'll get a little report, and that's kind of a nice little prep for you. And then also, we will have the link to my free masterclass training in the description of this video. It'll be in the video and possibly in the feed of the comments. And make sure you register to grab a spot, because we always have hundreds and hundreds of people that register for it. And grab yourself a spot, and there will be a little bit of prep work, I believe, there too, where you can answer a few questions to really understand your level of dysbiosis. So those are things you can do to prepare before. And then when you come, you've already, and before then, if you want to watch some of my videos on YouTube, there's playlists. You can actually find them. I don't know actually if it's on our website yet, because I know the web developer is putting our videos on our website. It'll be there shortly. If it's not there already, it may not be showing up quite yet, but within the next few days it will. So, number 1, learn a little bit more about the infections. Number 2, do that survey to see if you have chronic infections. And you can learn more about the infections on our YouTube, Live Disease Free. There are playlists of the infections. There's playlists of the diet. You can start to change your diet. You can start to feel better before we meet next Wednesday, and then you can tell me about it in the comments. Make sure you get yourself registered to join us. This information that I'm sharing with you, it has the potential to completely change your life if you take it to heart, if you actually study it and implement it. It is the only answer, because MS is an infectious disease. I'm going to go to your questions. And I lost most of the questions for the first half. I'll see, maybe I can just go to Facebook and find. Hi, Melody. Thank you so much. And I was going to say too that if you find what I'm sharing is really helpful, if you believe that this is the answer for not just yourself, but other people that suffer, please share this video with other groups, with other people that are searching for answers, because you have the amazing opportunity to help somebody change their life. Awesome. Okay, so Denise, do you believe that the disease-modifying therapies can make symptoms worse once they are stopped? And do you know what the reasons for that are? I don't believe so. So like normally, like if we're using a steroid, if we have an MS flare, what the steroid will do is it will really suppress our immune response. So like our immune system is having an overreactive response to it's called dysfunction, but it's not that our immune system has gone bad, or it's just that sometimes the war is out of control, right? And that's what the situation is. So the steroids will help to suppress our immune cells, our immune system, so that there's less war. But the problem is ongoing steroids. When you're suppressing the soldiers and you have an enemy that's running rapid, then that's not an answer either. With the disease-modifying drugs, most of them are targeting specific parts of your immune system, either your T cells or your B cells usually. And so what it does is it suppresses your immune system, so you're more susceptible to other infections. When you stop taking them, it's not like you get an MS flare. Absolutely not. We've never seen that before. It's just that they affect our physiology in ways that you might not feel well when you come off of them too quickly. And so that's why you have some drugs you can just quit cold turkey, and others you cannot, because it's changing your physiology a little bit, some of them, and then it's too much of a shock for you and you just don't feel well. It doesn't mean you're going to have an MS attack. It means that you might not feel well. So like, for example, with antidepressants, but with the disease-modifying drugs, let's say, I don't even want to say the names of them, but some of them specifically, we've never had any issues with that. Let's put it that way, that if you stop an MS drug, that you have more of an MS attack, because they don't work. They're not treating the infections. They are suppressing your immune system. They're decreasing B cells. They're preventing cells from moving into the central nervous system. But what we're doing is we are modulating the immune system. We're actually supporting it. We're actually decreasing the stress on it by making those infections less active, so that there is less inflammation. They're producing less poisons, and then the immune system has a little bit of breathing room. And so that's what we're doing. And so it's not going to make MS worse. Actually, people feel a lot better. And there are so many people. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people over the years that have MS. There are many people that are not using the MS drugs because they feel better off of them than when they're taking them. And that has nothing to do with me. That's just something that they've made that decision because that's what their observation was. So in my personal humble opinion is that they don't work. They cause you more harm than good. And the sooner you don't just quit, you have to use SMART, a plan. number one, really researching, understanding how they work in the body, what the adverse effects are. And then you think, well, gee, having MS is bad enough, but I don't want a rare brain infection that'll kill me, or aggressive breast cancer or cancer. That, the two together is like, MS is bad enough on its own. Thank you so much. You love hearing the success stories. It is so amazing. And this is what I do every week. Every week on Tuesdays, we have our call. We have our Tuesdays and Thursdays calls for students, and we hear these stories every single week, and it's so incredible. And we have for years. So if you're just finding us, make sure you look into this, because you could be having these improvements too. So do you ever see MS and lupus together? Yes, we have. It's not really common, but MS can be with any disease. So these conditions are based on symptoms. So it depends on where the symptoms are located and what kind of symptoms you have. You get a disease label. And it's just a label so that they know what kind of pharmaceuticals to give you, but it doesn't tell you what the cause is, and there is no cure. So some of these critters like to live in our joints, some of them like to live in our tissues, some of them like to live in our reproductive system or in our organs, some others like to live in the central nervous system. Some like to live in our spinal cord, for example, and we have back pain. So it really depends on which microbes we have, where they're living in the body. Those are the symptoms that they're giving us, and then we get a disease label. So you could see any disease with multiple sclerosis, or even with ALS or PLS. And especially when we've been on these disease-modifying drugs for a few years, because again, it's suppressing. So we have this out of control war, we're suppressing the soldiers even further. And then we end up with diabetes or cancer, or I've seen epilepsy and multiple sclerosis, or arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, or 3 to 5 diseases, not just the MS. And it's so brutal. I'm just going to do a quick check to see if I can catch a couple more comments here. I may not be able to. Let's see here. No, I cannot see the comments. All right. So I apologize for the losing the connection here. I have no idea why. But again, on Wednesday, May the 11th at 5 o'clock Pacific, I will be having it. I only do this 3 times a year, so make sure not to miss it. It will be live. I will answer all your questions at the end. I love that part. That's the most important part. But we'll be going into depth into, number 1, how did we ever end up in this position? Number 2, what are the steps we take to recover? Number 3, hearing these incredible stories, seeing their beautiful faces, and hearing these successes, more successes from these students that have recovered. And then if you want to become a wellness champion, you are more than welcome to join us. So listen to that. You'll really understand where you're at, what you need to do to get well. And make sure to like and share this video if you want to help us get the word out. And then also make sure to watch our videos on YouTube. There's lots you can do. And don't forget that there's this little survey on livediseasefree.com at the top where you can actually do that survey and kind of get a sense of where you're at. Do you have significant, mild, significant, or severe dysbiosis? And that will really help you to prepare for meeting. So in order to join me on Wednesday next week, there will be a link. You have to opt in, otherwise you won't have the details. There will be ways that you can see me and hear me. So you need the way to connect with me next Wednesday. The details will be with this video. So keep up the amazing work. Type your questions in the question box. I apologize for the technology. We will answer your questions, and we will see you on Wednesday. Take care and bye-bye for now.